Hey Chelsea, how's it going? When you walked in, you just said, what a crazy time this is right now. It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it is. Bonkers time to be alive, really.
Isn't it? So Chelsea is a friend of ours, and Chelsea, you've got a newborn baby, 4 months old.
I do.
And we thought it'd just be great to have a chat to you today, because I know that you've got a bit of a story behind yourself and a bit of a journey of getting little Arabella.
Yes.
And I think that it's really nice because at least you can share with other women a few things about you being home currently right now, dealing with a 4-month-old. And then the other side of things about, you know, that when you got married, about that Arabella is very much a special gift, and your story. And you've started your own Instagram page, which is Baby Talk Time, for other women like yourself. And I'm sure there's lots of us out there that, you know, have gone through that journey, and you know how difficult it can be. So
so I started the page, the Instagram page, more so originally because that was my outlet. So going through the fertility journey as a whole and starting that off, it was so hard because I felt so alone, and I didn't feel like I had, even though I've got amazing friends, amazing family, so supportive, but for some weird reason I just still felt so alone in all of it, and a lot of anger as well, but towards nobody other than myself. And so I started the page because it was just my outlet to be able to share with basically the world, to say, hey, don't feel sorry for me, because I don't need that, but I just want you to know what we're going through, because I feel like everyone's got a story, and unless you can find a way somehow to relate to that story, you'll never truly understand what that person's going through. And I figured that if I'm feeling that way, and I've got a really great network, imagine all of the women out there that don't have a network of people that are supportive, that really need that. So that was the main reason.
And I think too that, you know, some women are really proud. Some women will say that they're doing okay, and yet they'll be crying in the corner, and that's okay. But when they are like that, that's the times that you do feel alone, and you don't feel like, you know, you don't want to say to your friends and family, no, I'm not okay, because you don't want them to think that you're not coping. You know what I mean? Whereas you sort of go, no, I'm okay, and you know, because you're usually that type of person. So you and your husband got married, and then you were trying to have kids. Is that?
So we actually started trying before. So we got engaged, and actually I don't even know if we got engaged, but then he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. So that's kind of where I suppose the stress of pregnancy all sort of started. So and it was right from the get-go. So we'd obviously talked about children. We always wanted children, but hadn't got married or whatever. We just put our first home together. But yeah, diagnosed with cancer, and my husband's a real, like, whatever, live life, you know, happy, doesn't matter what's going on. He just is like, you know, on top of the world all the time. It's really quite exhausting, actually. It's having another toddler in the house.
Great place to be around right now, though, right?
He is. But yeah, so he, you know, he bounced back straight away. He had his surgery, and yeah, basically was like back at work the next day, whereas like I took a really long time to recover from it. I was really affected by it, and it was a really big joke. Like, even in our wedding speeches, people made a joke of like me making the most of it and like getting time off work and all the rest of it. But I really struggled, and I think that one of the biggest reasons was because of the unknown. So the unknown of you know, it returning, being one massive one, the unknown of, you know, us potentially not being able to have children at all. I didn't know at that stage what was going to
happen. That's a really scary time too, because you just sort of think that's, you know, if it's something that you talked about and something that you want, it's, you know.
And when it's sprung on you so quickly and you don't have time to think about it, it's because quite literally he was diagnosed on a Tuesday, and the next morning we were in 2 different fertility clinics trying to get his sperm frozen, because at that stage we didn't know whether he would need chemo or what was going to be happening. So it was a really stressful time. And the day that he found out, we got home and we had a chat, and he just said, I don't want you taking the pill anymore, like I want you to go off the pill straight away, because what will happen, and if we can try and have a baby naturally, then fantastic. Doesn't matter if it's before our wedding, like, let's just roll with it. And so we did that. So I took my last pill the day before. And
so how long ago was this?
It was 4 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4 years ago, when he was diagnosed. And then so we had a couple of years of being engaged, and before our wedding, so we got married in England, so it took some time. He's English, by the way. So we took some time just to enjoy that, and obviously just be trying for a baby. The first kind of 12 months, obviously things weren't going as planned. And so, which was also fine because it was like not too intense of trying. It was just, you know, whatever, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, all good. Because we weren't married at that stage and we really wanted to be married first, ideally, but also if it didn't happen that way, then that's also cool. And then obviously after our wedding is when we sort of got into a little bit deeper, and I went and did lots of appointments and saw lots of different people, got my tubes checked, all that kind of stuff. Because it had been a good, you know, 1.5 to 2 years of trying before, nothing happening. So saw lots and lots of different people, just every invasive thing you could possibly imagine. I was so prepared for baby, like for birth. It's not even funny because I've just had like, everything, check it all. And just rolled with it. So so it was an interesting time. But I think that the most important thing of all of it was, one, that I had a husband that was comfortable with me sharing with everybody so openly. That was a really big thing because, you know, there's only so much that him and I can talk about it.
Of course.
Then it starts to affect us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's testing.
Yeah, it was. And it was almost like, you know, it got to a point where we were just like having sex for the sake of like wanting to have a baby, and we lost that passion with one another. Because,
but I'm sure that a lot of people would be feeling exactly the same way, because you're like, quick, I'm ovulating. Come on, it's, you know,
like 36 hours.
This is it. No, drop everything. You know?
Exactly.
And because that's you know, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and I think that's another really big thing. A lot of people that, you know, or just even when you're younger, like you think, oh God, like, you know, I've got to make sure I have contraception, and, you know, oh crap, I better get the morning after pill, or, you know, whatever it might be, because you're so young and naive and you don't know really a whole lot about it. I didn't know that there was literally a 36-hour window of ovulation, and that's pretty much it in an entire month. So even though we say, oh, we've been trying for, you know, a year, technically that's only 12 goes. You know, when you think about it, it's really only 12 goes, and that's providing that you have actually had sex at the exact right time.
And how did you how did you know? Like, I mean, obviously you know when you're ovulating, it's a feeling.
Yeah, well, a feeling, like, and I was tracking
it,
you know, which actually towards the end, tracking it made it worse. It actually, because that's when it got really intense of like, right, now's the time, it's go time, and that made our relationship, our sexual relationship more testing, I suppose. Because it was like we were on a clock rather than just
spontaneity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so many people said, oh, don't stress, it will happen. And the more people said that, the more infuriating
it's awful.
Felt. I was like, don't tell me not to be stressed, because you know, that feeling of wanting something so badly, but it being so out of your control is really hard. And it took a really long time for me to be okay with the fact that we were going to do IVF. You know, we had our appointment booked in for quite a few months before, and so I could mentally prepare for all of that. But then I'm just so glad that we did. Honestly.
So tell me about, or tell us about Arabella. So how long were you trying, and then you know, Arabella came along. And
so we did. So obviously we went down the IVF route. We didn't have to use the frozen sperm, which was great, so we could do it with fresh sperm. Because Dan, like, we both got tested separately and everything was perfectly fine. It was purely the fact that the sperm just wasn't meeting the egg, which is some of the blogs that I've been writing for Adelaide. So that was all fine. So went through the process. We did 2 cycles and fell pregnant on the 2nd cycle. So that was fantastic, because obviously there's a lot of women out there that are on their 10th cycle and still going, and, you know, that determination. So I really, really feel for those people that are going through that. But we were definitely one of the lucky ones. So 2nd cycle, fell pregnant, had a reasonably good pregnancy, other than having gestational diabetes. Had to check my blood every 4 times a day, and, you know, a couple of times after each meal. So other than that, everything was pretty smooth. And she was born on the 5th of December last year.
And she's so cute.
She is. She's adorable. So she has just literally just changed our lives for
so
good.
Do you find yourself just staring at her, just going, oh my gosh, I made that?
Exactly, all the time. And she just, honestly, she's brought so much joy, not only to us, but everyone around me as well that's been involved in the journey. Because I made it so public, I feel like now everyone that was part of that journey is just so much more connected to her, because they know how much we wanted her and how loved she she is and was
Yeah.
always going to be,
Yeah.
because she was wanted so badly. So that's also really nice because everyone can now connect with that in a really nice way for her.
Yeah.
But no, she's amazing. She's
So
got
good.
such a good temperament, such a good little personality. She's just started giggling, so she's like...
Oh, I know, I've seen
Yeah.
pictures on Facebook and I love it how she dress her up and
Yeah.
it's just, she's
Yeah.
very, very cute.
Yeah.
And the baby talk time, I think, is probably more important too. It's so nice to be able to help other women, and you and I talked about, getting together to do something like this and to invite other women to have like a bit of a little forum to have a bit of a chat and have their experiences, because I know that you said earlier before about, you had your friends and family, you had a really great network, you're a strong character, you had a great husband beside you that was always positive, but there would have been dark moments.
Yeah.
And even though you had all of that, your mind still would have been telling you, if only I just had someone else, a woman that I was maybe close to, I could reach out to that could maybe, let me know this is normal that you feel like this, or this is what I used to do when I was feeling like that, which is exactly what baby talk time is all about.
Yeah.
It's where other women can sort of just go, hey Chelsea, I'm feeling this, da 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 da. So I just think that's fantastic, and we're going to share that link with you guys afterwards. The other thing is too is that, staying at home right now in this current situation. You mentioned before you did some baking yesterday.
I did do some baking. It's just an interesting time, isn't it, really? Like, I said to a few friends the other day, and I've been talking quite a bit about it with Hayley, because Hayley, obviously.
I seen her post last night about the boys, about
Yeah.
being grateful of like,
Yes.
it's just a light bulb moment
Yeah.
of her just saying, listen, you'd be rushing around and, crying, getting them to school and whatever, and now you get all this quality time, and I just said that is so true.
Yeah, and for her definitely, because her boys are a little bit older, but I was talking to her a lot about, she was one of the first people in her friendship circle, or her really close friendship circle, to have a baby, and it's the same situation for me. So I've got a few different friendship circles, and one part of them do have children, which is lovely, because I've got some friends that I can turn to and relate with and whatever, and that's fantastic. But out of my close school girlfriends, I'm the first one to have a baby, and I think that there has been a bit of a struggle there over the last few months anyway. Like, there have been times where I genuinely have felt quite isolated, and so this whole isolation thing is really quite interesting, because there have been times where I felt quite alone, because everyone's at work and doing their thing, and I'm at home and
Everyone's out if they're having a few drinks, or that's right.
I mean, obviously, I see my mum every single day. I'm so close with her. Every single day it does not go by where I don't see her. But yeah, everyone else is, out and about, or, they might go and get their nails done and not think to say, hey, would Chelsea like to get hers done, because maybe it's a bit too hard basket because of Arabella. And Dan and I are honestly the most social people. We absolutely love entertaining. We love having people around, and love being out and about. That was always our lifestyle, and I don't think that we've changed that at all.
Which is so good, because it's kind of like having that mentality of the bub comes and enjoys your life.
Absolutely.
You don't, and I think you need to do that for your own mental stimulation and for your relationship, not just with your partner, but with your friends as well.
Absolutely.
It's good for you, even if you don't feel like it's good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we've definitely done that. And I think, I hope that we've done it well, because, Arabella, whilst I've got a really good routine for her and she sleeps really well and all the rest of it, I make sure that routine follows no matter where we are and what we do.
Great.
So just try to really fit it in as best as I can. But Dan's been at home for the last 4 weeks from work, so working from home. But it's been really nice, because in the morning, rather than him rushing to get himself ready to go to work by 7:30, he's got that time between 7 and 7:30 to have time with her. And
perfect.
It's really nice. So we've been going for a walk every day together, just to try and get some fresh air, and taking her with us. And so the actual family time is really special at the moment. And I think that I know that I did a post on Instagram the other day saying that in 10 years time we're going to look back at this crazy time in our lives and just be appreciative that we were able to stop, slow down, and appreciate the ones that we love the most. And I think that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. It's kind of like that reset button, isn't it?
Yeah.
That, I said to Christy the other day that we, when we could still go to the park and things weren't as sort of, because there's changes every single day.
Yeah.
But one of the things that stood out to me is we went and grabbed coffee, because we were in here and we were sort of, planning and doing a few bits and pieces. Grabbed coffee, sat in the park, And I was sitting there and I said, I can't remember the last time I sat in a park.
I know.
We lied on the grass. We lied on the grass and we were just like going, facing the sun. And you could hear there was 2 lorikeets up there. And I'm not being silly when I say this, but it was the simple stuff.
Yeah.
That so we're writing a list of all the things that we want to do when we come back at the other end. And go, okay, well, we're going to make sure that we spend that time to do that. Because, you know, everyone talked about work-life balance and everything else.
You just get caught up.
That's a hard one to do. But
Yeah.
I think if you can just sort of embrace this moment right now, try to shift it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Don't create your bad habits. And I'm sure all of us, every person that I speak to that is not drinking wine during the week is now drinking wine during the week. But, you know, look, try to just not to create bad habits.
Yeah.
Get up, go for a walk, like you say, keep a little bit more of a routine.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing like this today. We get up, we put our hair up, we you know, get in and we keep, you know, doing what we can. We're respecting social distancing.
Yeah.
So it's never only one more person, you know, that we sit here. And it's all you can do because, you know, it will get harder and it will get colder and the sun won't be shining. It'll be cold, but we just got to go listen. The way we change our mindset to think about it's really going to help us get through.
I think it's really important that you still remember what you're most passionate about. And if you can still engage in that in some way. It's been the same for me, you know, coming away from work. So when I am working, I'm a director of a childcare centre, which is also where I've brought baby talk time in. So I've got a Master of Teaching. So I've been trying to apply some educational things for parents on my page as well, especially now for mums being at home.
Yeah.
And dads being at home, sorry.
Yeah.
And, you know, trying to homeschool and all those things. But, you know, I think that when I started maternity leave, there was a part of me that was, I'm so passionate about children and their education. And I feel really strongly about it, and you know that's a whole other topic, and I could talk about it for hours and hours on end.
You and I could talk forever, really. I mean, we could do a lot about it.
But I think that, you know, right now, when we've got this additional time to still be focusing, like I'm still doing so much research and learning and development, you know, professional development around education and children and brain development and all those types of things, because not only is it exciting because I get to apply it to Arabella and see how she's developing and, you know, going through all of the leaps of life and development, but then also when I do go back to my profession, you know, I've spent this time actually learning so much more.
Well, you've been productive.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think that if you slip into that pattern of, you know, watching Netflix or
I mean, don't get me wrong, I've definitely
nothing wrong with that. But I think that it's good to think, okay,
have a good balance.
Yeah, what's a bit of online course that I've wanted to do for a while, or a bit of learning or whatever. And it keeps you in that mindset. It was funny that, you know, when I was listening to you talking before, I was thinking that it is so true to just keep doing the path and the passion that you're doing before. Maybe it could be a thing that you might think, what is it that I've always wanted to do?
Exactly.
What is it what I want to do when I grow up? Sometimes people in their 30s, 40s, 50s still don't know what they want to do when they grow up. So make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because your job's not necessarily your identity, but for a lot of us it can be your identity, but it's also good to have something on the other end to research and educate yourself.
Yeah.
So and you and I were talking before. We were saying about the smelling salts. And
yes.
we were chatting about when you're in labour.
Yes, I used them. So I had the smelling salts and I had your moisturiser, or the body butter rather. But so I had epidural, and a side effect, my whole body was itchy. Like I can't even describe, like uncontrollably itchy. Like I can't even describe it. I wanted to
Was this while you were in labour?
Yeah, it was horrific. Like
just to add in a little bit of extra.
It was just honestly, it was horrific. Like just all over, completely all over. And you know the hospital blankets, how they're a little bit scratchy? Oh my god, I was like I was like using the blanket to like scratch on my legs. Anyway, Dan, bless him, I had the body butter next to me, like whilst I was in bed, and Dan just got it and he just massaged me from head to toe in it, and it just soothed my skin like you wouldn't believe. I had him there like every hour on the hour.
Nice.
I'm like, I need more. Because it really soothed it, because I was so itchy, and because I was scratching so much, it would just irritate my skin even more. And so your body butter was there.
So there would have been all the essential oils in there that would have been soothing.
So that was it was there for me all through the labour, so that was perfect. So
yes, that's really, really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. So what will what we'll do is you and I are going to organise when we can all regroup again, and won't we want to do that?
I know, when
All
we're
get
allowed to
together.
get together.
This is Temple Day Spa's lounge room, so we've sort of just been, I think it's going to be nice to get a couple of us ladies in.
Absolutely.
You can sort of have a real open questions. Someone wants to have any, whatever, talk to you about it, whatever. I
Yeah,
think
Sharon,
would
the
be
biggest
really, really
thing
nice.
for me is that, where I went through for our IVF, they offer counselling, and they're great to have, so many people there to support. But for me, I'm not really the type that wants to sit down and say, so tell me about your feelings.
I know.
That's
I
not
know.
that's not
No,
me,
no,
that's
no,
not my personality. I'm more about this. Like, I just want to talk and be real.
And that's what we said today, didn't it? And just before
Yeah.
we did this, Chelsea was saying, well, what do you, and I just said, let's just chat, because the thing about it is, and it's just keeping it real.
Yeah.
And each person that we're getting in is just, everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a story. And just because you're sharing it doesn't, I think it's really nice, because then it opens up for other people to go, you know what? I feel like that, but I don't really want to be speaking to you about it with my sister-in-law or my best friend, or I'd rather, we have different relationships with different people.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of relationship is that this is solely about your experience, because you've got the good marriage and have great friends and that, but the relationship that you had with yourself and how you were going through things is like, it's overwhelming, and unless you've been through it, you just can't understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Even if you try to explain it to somebody. So I think it's great, and we'll put your little baby talk time on there. And
sounds good.
Thanks for hanging out.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Nice to see you.
You too.
And
it's been lovely to get out of the house.
I know, you look great.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Thanks.